Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you my TBR for the Asian Readathon, and at the end I will also talk about some other books that I hope I will be reading in May. Now usually for May I try to only read books by Asian authors, but this year, because of some other like read-along projects I'm participating in and stuff like that, it doesn't quite work out. So we'll start with the books for the Asian Readathon, and then at the end I will mention some other ones. Now if you don't know what the Asian Readathon is, I will link the announcement video down below. The Asian Readathon is hosted by the channel with Cindy, so you can go and check that out. I will not talk about all of the rules here, and that announcement video also has a lot of book recommendations if you're looking for those, so definitely go check it out. The Asian Readathon comes with 5 prompts, and then there is a special challenge because you're supposed to read books by different Asian ethnicities. So before it was countries, now it seems to be ethnicities. I must confess that this part, while I see what it is trying to do, is always a bit uncomfortable for me because I don't really like, Googling the authors, trying to find out who their grandparents were and stuff like that. So yeah, I always feel a bit weird about this. So I kept it at countries. Please don't come at me for that. But this was already hard enough for me because I really don't like to it just feels icky to me to be so specific about these authors. I do read a lot of Asian American authors or Asian diaspora authors, so it is not always that clear what their like heritage is and stuff like that. So we're gonna start out with the first prompt, and that is like the easiest one. It is just a book written by an Asian author. For that, I chose Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, and I think this is an author from South Korea, so I'm gonna count it for that. This is a short story collection with speculative horror stories, I think. I'm very excited to give this one a try. I really love the cover, I've been meaning to read this for quite a while now, so let's get to this one. The next challenge is to read a book that feels timeless. And I maybe should have said that, but these prompts are based off the movie Past Lives. So if you want to hear more of the explanation about the prompts, also go to the announcement videos. But a book that feels timeless. Now, this might be a little bit, I don't know if this is like a great example of that, but I put As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow on here. This is by Sulfa Katu, and this is, I count this for Syria. So this is, I think, a novel about revolution and fighting against oppressive government, something like that. I'm not quite sure what this book is actually about. I think it is YA, but yeah, I would have to read it to really be sure, but those were the kind of like buzzwords that I saw. And unfortunately, I think that these kind of like revolutions, fighting for your rights, is something that is quite timeless in the human experience. So it's not necessarily very positive, because I wish we could all live in a world where we don't have to fight for our rights, where we just have our rights. But unfortunately, this is not the world we live in, so I think this is quite timeless. Then the next challenge is to read an underrated book. And I've chosen this one because the author of the book is one of the creators of the Monstrous graphic novels, and I have seen those around quite a bit. I love them, but I haven't really seen anyone read this book, so that's why I chose it for underrated, and that is The Tanglewood Palace by Marjorie Liu. Now I think this is also short stories, but I think those are more like fantasy short stories, and you can see from the cover design that it definitely has the like art style of the Monstrous comics. So this is text, it's not a graphic book, but I'm pretty sure that Sana Takeda designed the cover. Yeah, it does say here the cover was illustrated by Sana Takeda as well. So yeah, I think this is just a collection of stories the author has written. I'm very intrigued to try those out. And I think the family of this author is from Taiwan. The next challenge is a debut book, and for this one I chose She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is the first book in a duology, and it is inspired by Chinese history, so I'm kind of counted for China. And in this one we are following, I think, a girl who has a brother, and they both get like a prophecy when they're very young, and her prophecy is that she will be nothing, and his prophecy is that he will have this great future, and then he dies and she takes over his persona, I think. So we'll see. I'm quite intrigued by this one. This is considered fantasy, but I have heard that it is mostly very historical with very few magic elements, so I'm intrigued to see how I get along with it. I'm a bit worried just because I wasn't the biggest fan of the Poppy War, and I'm afraid that they will have similar vibes, but I hope that I will really love this one. And I also want to get to the sequel, He Who Drowned the World, but I can't count that for Asian Readathon because of that ethnicity country restriction. You can't read from the same author twice, obviously. So I do have both of them on my TBR, but only one counts for the prompts. And then last but not least, we have quite a interesting prompt, and that is a book with something in it, like a world or like something in it that represents something you want in your next life. And I have to be a little bit creative with this one, but we're gonna make it work. So the book I want to read for that is The Sea Elephants by Shastri Akella. And I chose this one because I think the main character joins a theater group, and I did theater in school. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I actually had the opportunity to go to a casting for an independent movie once, and unfortunately because of like personal stuff I couldn't go. So let's just imagine, you know, the alternate universe where I went to that casting and I got a role in a movie. That would have been really great. So I'm gonna, you know, do the acting thing. Let's just imagine that would be great. But in this one, I think we are following a main character who grows up in India, and he joins a traveling theater group and discovers things about himself, his sexuality, and it's kind of like this finding yourself narrative. I just read a really interesting kind of blog post about this book, so I will try to remember to link that as well, because it made me really excited to read this book, and I think it will be great. So this one obviously will count for India for me. So as I said, the Asian Readathon, it does have quite strict rules. At the same time, it's just an invitation to read the books by Asian authors you have been excited about. And there is a ton of those on my wish lists, on my TBR. So I'm just very happy to get to all of these. And obviously, I read a lot of Asian literature. And last year, that was one of the biggest groups of authors I have read were some kind of Asian descendant authors. So I really like this readathon, and I would like to invite you to join it too, because there are so many amazing books by Asian authors out there. Even if this might feel a little bit too restrictive, just go ahead and read Asian authors and it's fine. So apart from that, I do have a couple of other things I really want to read next month. So I wanted to mention those at the end right here. Now, one thing I'm doing, I participate in a dragon read-along, and this kind of counts because it is inspired by the Year of the Dragon, which, as far as I understand it, is the Chinese horoscope. So it does have a little bit of Asianness in there, but the book we're reading for May is the second book in the Winnowing Flame series, and that is The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. I loved the first book, so I am so excited to read the second book, and that's why I have to squeeze it into May as well. I really want to read that next book. It was really hard to take a break for a month now before I could continue on with the sequel, and yeah, I will listen to that on audio. And then I also just started reading the Life Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb. And this one I want to do for one of my series reading vlogs, so I want to read the whole trilogy within this like springtime, second quarter of the year. So these are very long books, so I will have to continue on in May as well. And so I hope that I will finish the first book at the beginning of May, so that would be The Ship of Magic, and then continue on probably later in the month after reading the second Winnowing Flame with The Mad Ship. So we'll see whether that actually works out. These are really big fantasy books, but I love Robin Hobb's writing style, so I hope this will not be a chore. And then last but not least, but this is really stretching it very far, we had talked about doing a buddy read of Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner for May on one of the discords, Yolene's discord, from the channel Yolene Reads. Will I actually manage to get to this book and the 5 other physical reads I have mentioned here? Who knows? Who knows? But a girl can dream. We do have quite a few bank holidays in May in Germany, so that will probably help. So that's it for my TBR. I hope you enjoyed watching. Definitely let me know which books you want to read for the Asian Readathon. Do we have any kind of overlap? And I will talk to you very soon. Bye!